Alright, what's up y'all, LakerFan here. As actually by the title of today's video, I want to showcase to you guys the build that is actually displayed in this gameplay that we had from yesterday. The meta shooting guard build in NBA 2K23 Comp Pro-Am. Now, this is a 6'3". It's very similar to what most people run for the meta shooting guard builds. We also, for that matter, even have another gameplay displayed right here where Gucci also dropped 43 points in this game against an actually pretty decent team for that matter too. It wasn't just some scrubs. So, I want to showcase the build that is even capable of doing stuff like this, and it's got really good standing dunk. It's quite a bit different than most people's shooting guard builds for these 6'3s, and it's actually got elite defense too. Alright, so we're going to get straight into this. I hope y'all enjoy. If you do, drop a like, sub if you're new to noties, all that good stuff, and like always, try to win to 2,000 likes. Now, to start us off, we have the position. It's actually going to be a point guard if you want to list it at that. The pass accuracy is a bit low on this build, so you will be able to line up at the 2-guard position, assuming that most of the point guards that you guys watching this video will play with will have more than 75 pass ac. So for those who don't know, if you have 2 point guards on a team, and one's at the point guard, one's at the shooting guard, whoever has the higher pass accuracy between the two of them is the one that's going to line up at the point guard. So if you want to make it a PG just for grinding the build, easy, like making that easier, you can absolutely do so. I assume you're going to be plenty fine with the 75 pass ac, always lining up at the 2-guard position. Anyway, the reason this is going to be a little bit different than what most people have for the shooting guard builds is going to be the discrepancy of the acceleration and, as you can see, our finishing badge counts, not to mention the vertical as well. It is a bit different. I'm going to showcase multiple different ways of upgrading this, especially with that vertical in mind, because I personally would prefer to have it at 75. We're just showcasing the exact way Gucci has it in that gameplay and what his literal build looks like. So, this is what you're looking at. 6'3", 170 on the weight, 6'9" wingspan. Now, I will say his build is probably slight. I would make defined if you actually want to play good defense with this as well and actually maybe potentially guard ball. But if you want to be more of an offensive 2-guard that's way more involved ball handling wise, slight would be smart. But honestly, I don't think it makes that big a difference. I think just in general, it's either you have like that extra wingspan factor that, you know, people mythically believe in, and so do I, or you're built and you're obviously a little bit more stubby but can set bigger bodies on screens. But I don't think besides that it really matters that much. But anyway, as far as the finishing goes, as you can see, we have 17 finishing badge points. We have a little bit of close shot and a good bit of standing dunk on this as well, because we use this build on hash cuts really often. And I don't even want to just say we, period, and involve myself, because AK and Gucci were doing this stuff well before I was on the team with them as well. But like I said, they actually involve like those 2-guard cuts and stuff like that, the wing cuts, the hash cuts, way more than other people do in their offense. And as you can see, with 67 close shot, it gets you a badge point and bronze fast twitch, and with the 67 standing dunk, it's just good, period. Now you get the badge point at 60. If you wanted to drop down to here, you could, but you will see, like, there are not many things that you can unlock with these attribute points. The reason standing dunk and close shot are so high is it's so cheap. It's unreal. Like, dropping, as you can see, 7 standing dunk literally does not even get you a pass accuracy. You could go all the way down to, before you can get a pass ac, down like 12 points, and that's when you finally get it. So that's why we have the standing dunk up, not to mention at 60 you do get the badge point too, so it's pretty convenient. Plus the 86 driving dunk, we got that gold limitless takeoff, and obviously you need 17 finishing badges to do so. Now on that note, there are some things in this build that are non-meta. For instance, the 71 driving layup is definitely a non-meta thing. I would definitely say the majority of people come out here with a 77 driving layup or so to be able to get the silver fearless finisher. Now if you wanted to, like I was saying, close shot is very cheap. You could go up to 75 close shot if you would like to get that fearless finisher to silver, and if you still plan to use this as a cutter pretty often, it can be like vouched for that as well. You could do so by maybe dropping the mid-range off and just putting an extra badge point here. I will say though, you want to save your extra badge points pretty heavy for the defense, because we want to do some cool things on defense with this build. But regardless, you can see the build's power is the fact that it does not invest a superior amount of ball handling into the build, and its playmaking badge count in total is pretty weak. Only 75 pass ac, only 76 speed with ball for the badge point right there. And then 89 ball handle as well. Not really feeling for a badge point to go to the next attribute cap or anything like that, but 89 ball handle will get you that half quick first step. And as far as movement wise, that's as far as you need to go for a shooting guard. And generally, shooting guards are going to have other teams' 2 guards on them as well, and that likely means you're running into something like this, where it's going to be silver glove or worse. It may even just not be ran. Like for instance, Gucci in this build right here doesn't run glove. He runs interceptor, clamps, and challenger. And again, we put a lot of extra defensive badge points on for that. So it definitely, you know, comes out to that total right here. We can run 3 tier 3s, but you can't afford glove. And that's what most 2 guards are going to end up with. They either like can't afford glove at all, or they afford it in a very limited aspect. So that's why we're okay with the 89 ball handle. And again, this is all about movement. It's just about speed and quickness. And while you do see 76 speed with ball, it's not that big of a deal. It's really more about the acceleration. And this is elite acceleration for a shooting guard build. To be 6'3" with 94 excel, I'm sure you will see a lot of comp pro-am players in awe at the fact that this build has 94 excel, 87 prim, and 85 steel, and can still play on-ball D at a really high rate with that silver clamps, gold challenger, and silver interceptor as well, while still being a legitimate ball handler, and obviously the 92 3-pointer as well. And it's got the gold takeoff, it's got obviously pro contacts, but only one of them. Now, that's why I'm here to talk about that package, with the vertical only being 70. If you wanted to, there are a couple different things you could do. For instance, take that mid-range down, go ahead and put it into the vertical. As you can see, it's getting pretty close, and then you can just take stamina down one more as well. Boom, there you go. You have pro contacts off 1, pro contacts off 2. You could afford to do so pretty manageably, I would say. It's just in today's video, that's how Gucci's build was made. So I'm just gonna go ahead and keep on showcasing it like that. But it's pretty elite in my opinion. I think this build provides so much offensive potency, whether it's just the fact that you have a secondary ball handler that can legitimately be a threat with the ball. 94 excel is really the big driving point of this build. As we all know probably at this point, once you get to past this like 91 acceleration rate, it becomes really hard to be able to afford stuff like that after it. It becomes really expensive, but it is extremely important if you ask me. Now, the other perk to being 94 acceleration on the dot, if you guys watch my videos, is the fact that any takeover period will boost your stats by at least 5. So for instance, with sharp take, it's not one of the primary things that boost acceleration. That's more like slash and stuff like that. To give some reference, if you had slash takeover or something that pertains to acceleration, it would give a +8 to it, which would be kind of overkill with 94 excel. That's why I'm actually kind of cool with if I made a build that's kind of 6'3" like that, it could have 90 acceleration and I maybe run slash take primary, and boom, as soon as you know it, that's 98 acceleration. But for this build, if you run sharp take, obviously if you're on sharp takeover, that means you are getting a +5 to acceleration and a +8 to 3-pointer. With 92 3-pointer and the fact that you have 94 acceleration, you're now looking at on takeover 99 excel, 99 3-pointer. I think that's pretty killer, bro. That's actually nasty. And I mean, if you think about it, that's literally a 6'3" point guard at that point. Half quick first step, everything involved that you would need to be elite with the ball in your hands. Simple as that. And again, still even elite off ball too. So takeover options, we have sharp, play, and lock. I wouldn't really recommend to run anything besides sharp on this, to be real with you. If you are heavily invested into your team's offense, maybe you could run play take secondary, but honestly, for 2 guards, I would probably suggest just double sharp at that point. You get your takeover, you can run the offense from there, but besides that, it's obviously going to be a little bit more involved for you to just be a shooter. And you can be a shooter off ball, you can be a shooter with the ball, whatever the case may be. But anyway, we're getting to the badge loadout right here, and I'm going to explain to you guys what you could do differently than Gucci's build, or if you want to play it the exact same way as him, you could do it as well. All right, so to look into the badge count that you're going to see with this build, what I'm going to primarily showcase is the double shooting core. Now, I don't have the double shooting core listed right here, obviously, but as you can see, you could hypothetically just imagine that you have blinders as well. Or if you want to be easier to understand, just imagine you cored Agent and Limitless. Those are by far the 2 easiest cores to get for these tier 3s, so it's very manageable to do so. Past that point, if you have the double shooting core, you could run catch and shoot, green machine, volume, and then silver claymore. If you wanted, you could definitely go with a Hoff claymore, maybe add clutch shooter if you didn't really care for catch and shoot. Obviously, we only have it to the level of getting gold. 93 3-pointer, if you're interested in that, can get up to the Hall of Fame catch and shoot. You'd have to go down on the wingspan as well, but it's actually possible if you would like to look into that yourself. But anyway, for the finishing, it's pretty simple. We just don't run acrobat. You're stuck with like bronze point somewhere in the tier 1 between like obviously back down punisher, dream shake, masher, post spin. So we're just going with aerial wizard. You can still catch lobs on hash cuts if you really get deep into it like that with your team. But anyway, gold giant slayer, bronze fast switch, bronze fearless finisher, and then gold limitless takeoff. If you had to go with the finishing core, you could probably just core poster or slithery, whichever you would like to, and you're good from there. Again, this build, if you wanted to adjust it to that 75 vertical, could get the pro contacts off 1, off 2. With 70, you can still get the off 2, but they're not exactly as good if you would ask me. So, but again, for meta style point guards and shooting guards, they don't really care for contact dunks, to be real with you. They kind of just go to the rim, hold up on their stick, and get the takeoff, obviously. So it's about as simple as that. Anyway, again, shooting, really simple. We're going to just do that. If you didn't have the potential to run a double shooting core, it's likely you're going to end up in a situation like this, where you're just going to kind of have to run no catch and shoot or claymore, which as a shooting guard does kind of suck. If you wanted to go with the volume off and just run Hoff claymore instead, though, you could definitely do so. This is more spot up-ish, if you ask me, though. I think when running Hall of Fame volume shooter, which as you can see in those screenshots right there, Gucci is definitely on display with that type of stuff. Volume shooter can be really elite for those types of people that really get a lot of plays called for them, that get the ball in their hands consistently. It just depends on how you get used as a shooting guard in your team's half-court offense. Same with if you run the break as well, because most shooting guards guard wing. And maybe with this build you have interest in guarding ball. It's possible. But anyway, into the playmaking. This is what he has. Now, I'm not here to vouch for this, to be real with you. If it was me deciding on something like this, I think I would probably maybe more so vouch for the idea of actually doing this, where you would core clamp breaker, run handles for days, and then not run hyperdrive. As you can see though, with Gucci's style of it, he actually ended up doing this, where he just runs handles for days core with gold hyperdrive, and then I don't really know what he fills in with this tier 1 right here, so I just threw on needle threader. It could be dimer. I think it's between those two, to be honest with you, just needle threader or dimer. But either way, bronze bailout, gold hyperdrive, Hoff quick first step, and then the gold unpluckable as well with the silver handles for days. But again, I would probably vouch more for this idea right here, where you could just go ahead and do stuff like this, where you can just end up running exactly this badge count right here: gold clamp breaker, gold unpluckable, Hoff quick first step, handles for days, and then the bronze bailout. If you ever wanted to look into how to core clamp breaker, just throw it on Hall of Fame. In my career, you can just run right into the defender for like the whole possession. As soon as you get a clamp breaker, back it up, run right into him again, and then back it up, run right back into him again, and just keep doing it over and over again on Hall of Fame. It's very doable. I must say, it's actually a very easy badge to core if you would like to. Now, for defense, we have to spend at least 10 points between tier 1 and tier 2. I think Menace and Pick Dodger are the ones you want to look at. If you want to run Workhorse instead of Menace, though, you absolutely could, and then in that case, you could just throw that on. But I think vouching for just gold is the way to go unless you have a lot of extra badge points to work with. But considering everybody who's watching this build has at least 4 badge points they can put on, this will work for anybody. You could put 4 extra on defense. There you go. You now have Clamps, Challenger, and Interceptor, where you would core one of the very easy tier 3s to do between Clamps and Interceptor. Challenger is an absolute grind if you ever wanted to core that. It's going to be a lot tougher. There's no way to spam it. There's no way to do it in my career. Interceptor is extremely easy in Rec Center, where you can just literally lane probably like 8 to 10 passes and get it on bronze. I mean, it's a very easy badge to core. But again, we don't really care for chase down. Obviously, it's cool that it's tier 1 and all that at a 6-3, but we don't really care for that because obviously we don't even have any block. Rebound chaser, who cares? Box out beast, you're guarding hash, you don't need it. And then again, there's stuff like Workhorse or ankle brace that you can maybe vouch for between these, but it's more so in your tier 2, tier 3s. So that's what we're looking at. This build would get a +4 to defense at the very least. Anything from that point though, you could maybe vouch for playmaking here and there. You could vouch for shooting as well, where you'd like to be able to add maybe Claymore. That could be a really convenient thing. So for those out there who have grinded a ton, you could just put 4 extra defense, there's your Clamps, and then you could put 4 extra shooting, and there's your Claymore. And now you're looking at Hoff Claymore, Hoff Green Machine, Hoff Volume Shooter without even having the double core. Now, again, it's a whole different conversation if you have the double core, because then you have a ton of badge points to work with. Maybe you could go with, boom, something like this, where when you're working with the core badge patterns and stuff like that with the double shooting core, you get blinders for free, or again, to dumb things down a little bit, you get agent double cored, and now you're looking at the potential to run catch and shoot on gold. You could up your Claymore as well with like 2 extra badge points. That's Hall of Fame right there. Maybe you want some mini magician, maybe you want some clutch shooter, who knows. But you don't really need anything extra on finishing, in my opinion, unless you really wanted acrobat, but I don't think that's necessary to go for. So anyway, that is our display and our explanation on the build. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you want to see that gameplay that we beat those dudes that are pretty decent by like 40, feel free to ask, but I don't really like uploading blowouts that much, to be completely honest with you guys. It's not really something I'm too interested in. I like to upload more interesting Pro-Am games, but if you guys want to see that, feel free to let me know. It's with our new lineup that I'm actually on my 6-9 inside again with that team style. Just as a reminder though, we are still doing the 5-out team. It's just not with Gucci and J-Dub. So this is like AK's team that we're playing on right there, and then we still have Long Awaited, which is my team that we play the 5-out style with. So anyway, that is all for the video. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, feel free to drop a like, sub if you're new to on noties, all good stuff, and like always, try to 2,000 likes. If you made it to the end of the video, put Gucci or 2-guard, shooting guard, whatever you want in the comments. Show support your man all the way through. Anyway, appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate you even asking for the build. This was a very highly requested build in that video because I didn't showcase the build in the vid, but you guys really wanted to see it. So I just felt like it was right to upload this, and you know what better time to do it than as the video's popping. It was a 1 out of 10. It was an absolute like really good views on the video, and I guess at that point more people are interested in looking for the build. So I figured we'll bring that to you, and honestly I absolutely love doing this stuff like this too, because I get to compensate the boys in like revenue sense, where I can give them a piece of it back, whether it's for signing up for leagues or helping AK with his builds and stuff like that, or just whatever the case may be. And if we keep playing with Gucci, I'll probably even like loan him something too, to be able to just make his builds with, if he ever wanted to make a new one too. So shout out to you guys for even making that possible in the first place, and I do appreciate the fact that these guys allow me to make content off the fact that I get to use their builds as display for good videos. So anyway, that's all for video. Hope y'all enjoyed. Done that. Take it easy, man. Peace.